Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming today. To start off, we would like to introduce all the members of this project. My name is Abby Cook. I'm a graphic design and mass comm major. After graduation, I will be moving to Mason City to report at the Mason City Globe Gazette, and I'm from Sioux City, Iowa.
My name is Mackenzie Bennett, and I'm a corporate communications and Spanish major, and I am from Ankeny, Iowa.
My name is Matthew O'Connell. I'm going to be receiving my degree in mass communications, and after graduation, I'm going to be working with the Chicago Bulls organization.
My name is Tana Mayhorn. I am double majoring in business and mass communication, and after I graduate, I plan on moving to Sioux Falls and working for a recruiting company called Aerotech.
My name is Kyle Cox, and I'm a mass communications major, and after graduation, I'll be moving to Copenhagen, Denmark to play professional volleyball.
Hi, my name is Katie Hackworth. I'm a mass communication major with a minor in business. I will be working at Nakavika Physical Therapy as their communication and outreach specialist in Omaha.
Hi, I'm Haley Barris. I will be graduating with a degree in mass communications and a minor in photography. After graduation, I will be a multimedia journalist at KTIV News Channel 4 here in Sioux City.
My name is Jonah Egley. I'm a mass communication major. After I graduate here, I will be accepting a job to be the assistant wrestling coach at Morningside University.
I'm Daniel Versteg. I'm a mass comm major, sports management minor from Orange City, and after graduation I'll be working as the sports director at KLEM Radio in Le Mars.
And my name is Iandra Estepanian, but a lot of people know me as Iggy. I am a corporate communications major with double minor in advertising and photography, and I am from Santa Ana, California.
So out of the Capstone course, we decided that we wanted to investigate what diversity looks like on campus. So there has recently been a committee formed made up of students, faculty, and staff called the DEI Committee, and that stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And their goal is to host events, create programming, and education that starts the conversation on issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. Something that Stacey Alex said that I think is really important about the committee is that when they're creating programming, it doesn't have to be equal, but it has to be equitable in terms of the minority groups on campus. So we have spent the semester interviewing people from every area of the Morningside community, from administration to athletes to people in the performing arts. And we've come to the conclusion that Morningside is on the right path in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but we can do better. So we are very hopeful that really good things will come from the DEI committee in the future. So the piece that I focused on most of all was kind of that mental health aspect in regards to diversity on campus, especially when thinking about discrimination, harassment. So I spoke with Bobby Meister, and she gave some really insightful information, as well as Pastor Andy. And I think the major takeaway from all of that is that we just need to start the conversation to educate people on the different areas of diversity. So please go ahead and take a look at my article. And we also have a video that kind of goes over the overview of the project.
I think my biggest support coming to a smaller college initially, being a person of the LGBTQ community, was my peers, those who were part of the community and those who were not, and allies, and just their acceptance and encouragement that it is okay to be someone like that on a smaller campus.
was very, very surprised by the fun and joy people had here, because in Germany it's all business, you know, everybody just goes after their business, not really a lot of people say hello. As soon as we got here, it was basically a familiar feeling throughout. Everybody's just so nice to you, everybody greets you when they see you on the street, you make friends so easily because everybody's so open. That's just a big difference compared to Germany, where everybody's just business-minded. They want to get their own stuff done and don't really care about social interaction, so to speak.
Everybody was nice to me. The accent, actually, they always praised my accent, saying that it was really nice and it sounded really good, you know. And we always joked about it. Nothing ever happened. Never disrespectful, never malicious.
Everyone's interested, everyone's nice, they want to get to know you. It's a very easy way to make new friends being from somewhere else, because it instantly gives conversation, asking like how the difference is between how they live to how I live and stuff I have and they don't. So it's been very easy to make those new connections with people.
I've noticed a lot more harassment on campus and racism, and it doesn't really seem like the faculty's, like, they are doing all these committees and stuff like that, but they're not, I don't see any impact.
I just never really understood using things about people that they cannot change as insults. There are so many valid reasons to hate somebody. Why would you hate them because they're black? Why would you hate them because they're gay?
So sports and diversity go hand in hand, because you got to get people from all types of walks of life to contribute to something that's bigger than themselves.
I felt that it's a very inclusive environment, and we always reach out to any and all students that are interested in attending Morningside.
I guess my general feeling about diversity on campus is that obviously we have room to grow, but that I also feel that we've made some strides in that respect too. And really maybe part of that is fully defining what we're saying as far as diversity on campus, talking about not only Hispanic, Latinos, Blacks, international students, you know, encompassing all of those, the LGBTQ students as well. So I do think that we've, in general, seen some growth in those areas during my time.
So my responsibility during this project was I conducted 3 interviews, one with a person of color, as well as 2 members of the LGBT community on campus. And I really enjoyed conducting these interviews because I found them very telling, I think, about a variety of aspects, whether that be campus life, living in the dorms, as all 3 students do live in the dorms, and it's a variety of different aspects on campus that, for me personally, I wouldn't have necessarily thought of. So we're just going to play a short clip of an interview I did with Summer Kramer.
Junior here at Morningside. I'm actually in my 2nd semester of junior year, so I'm going to be out very, very soon. Cannot wait for that. My main reaction when people are like, how is Morningside? I'm like, it's fine. Like, it's not, like, bad. It's not like I wake up like, oh, God, I have to spend another day on this campus. It's just, I describe it as a little pretentious at times, just because a lot of people who like go to Morningside or know of Morningside, I was like, oh, Morningside, Morningside, Morningside. And
So that's a little preview of what Summer has to say, and it was a pleasure interviewing her as well as the other 2 students. So overall, I found the project to be very beneficial and very revealing for Morningside.
And then for my part of the project, I did something that was related to my hometown in Santa Ana. And Santa Ana is actually a very heavily Latino and Hispanic community, and within that community we have this program called the Nicholas Academic Center. And the Nicholas Academic Center offers college students all the support that they need to get through college, such as financial, emotional, and like tutoring and anything that they need. And within their program, they actually have a partnership with Morningside College, where Andre McWell, who's also featured in this article and with other projects in this whole diversity project, He helps these students adapt better to the lifestyle here in the Midwest because a lot of these students come from out of state and they would never come to a college in the Midwest. But due to the NAC partnership, we bring a lot of diversity into the community by having students from this specific community. And a lot of the students that I interview, such as senior Nancy Cornell, junior Faustino Barroso, junior Kimberly Murillo, and sophomore Lizette Hilario, they shared both positive and negative experience, but overall they find the NAC partnership with Morningside as a positive experience, and they wish that Morningside does a little bit more to welcome their students and that this program is widely known through campus because it will help everyone who comes from Santa Ana adjust to the Midwest and Morningside College. And the second project I worked on was with the university engagement, so the marketing department here at Morningside College. I interviewed 3 people, Erin Ellen, Tasha Goodman, and Carly Hansen, who's actually in the audience right now. Erin shared in her interview that she and her marketing department base all the marketing material on student experiences here at Morningside. So with student experiences, they focus on what students are doing in every department, what they're doing on their midterms, and what they're doing in their classes. And with these experiences, it helps highlight that DEI aspect of campus that we really need. She says that a lot of the time, we tell each other stories, and those stories actually help more students feel like they know Morningside before they actually get here, and that they could have these same experiences. And one thing I want to add is that the interns that they have in the marketing department help create that diversity as well on campus, because students coming into the marketing department and sharing their stories help make bigger stories and spread those stories to potential high school students to come to Morningside College.
And my approach is, I wondered, and I wonder if you wonder, have you ever wondered what administration does as it pertains to diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus? Well, that's the question I answered in my articles. I interviewed people like Chris Spicer, who is the director of student faculty, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, faculty affairs, and Cindy Welp, who also recruits faculty and staff as well, about how they handle diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus as it pertains to when they recruit people, making sure they're comfortable here, making sure they feel welcome, and what can they do to constantly recruit people of diverse mindsets, diverse backgrounds, and diverse racial, religion, different things like that, just so campus has a bunch of opportunities to interact with a bunch of different people from different walks of life. If you would like to have more information on what they do particularly as their position as it pertains to diversity, equity, and inclusion, please take a look at any of my articles and audios that I interviewed them.
So I researched recruitment here on campus. I talked to Alicia Noller, which is the head dance coach, Dakota Van Houten, which is the cheer coach, and then Ben Kanavi, which is an admission counselor. And overall, they had really good things to say about recruitment and stuff on Morningside. But they think diversity here on campus is good, but can still obviously be better. When recruiting, they do not go out of their way to seek more diverse people to get here on campus. They get a list, and then off of that list, they judge them by their skill and ability for the sport or their grades. They said to make people more comfortable, we should have groups here on campus, such as members of the LGBTQ plus community have groups so they can get together and feel more comfortable, or people of diversity to have those conversations. Ben and Dakota are actually part of that LGBTQ plus community here on campus, and they say they feel very welcomed by the staff in the Morningside community. Dakota actually came out when he was here, when he first came here on campus, and he said that he was very
So a big portion of what I focused on for this project was diversity, equity, and inclusion within the arts department. So within the Morningside Visual and Performing Arts, I interviewed several faculty members. I focused with Dr. Ryan Pearson, who's the Director of Choral Activities here at Morningside. I spoke with the head of the art department, Shelby Prindeville, who's in the audience today, as well as Dr. Eric Mahon, who does a lot with the jazz department. So I'd love for you guys to check out this article. They really focused on the curriculum that they present in the classroom, how they make sure that it is inclusive and diverse to all students on campus. One of the things that Dr. Pearson pointed out that I thought was really interesting, from the musical side of things, he focused on how in history, composers are generally known as white men, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that's accurate. So he really tries to go out of his way to make sure that he has women composers, composers of different cultural backgrounds. And when I spoke with Shelby, she also mentioned the same thing within the arts department, making sure that the artwork that's being displayed, the exhibits that are being shown, all are part of a diverse group of artwork. So I'd really love for you guys to check out this article. Kind of building off what Katie said when it comes to recruitment, obviously, just like in athletics and academics, you want to find the best students for that position. One thing that they focused on in the performing arts is, yes, they want these students that have high expectations, good records of either acting or performing, stuff like that, but it's actively seeking out diverse populations outside of our backyard here in Sioux City to find the best people to make the campus more diverse. So that was something that they emphasized in this article that I'd love for you guys to read in full. Another thing that I focused on for the project was an interview with Jamar Lee. You may have seen him briefly in the introduction video. He is a junior here at Morningside, and he is a person of color and also part of the LGBTQ+ community. He has some great topics about what his experience has been like on campus and what he's been involved in regarding DEI and what he'd like to see happen in the future. And the last video interview that I conducted was with Jorge Laredo. He is from Mexico City, Mexico. And an important thing that he brought up that I thought was extremely important regarding the DEI subject is he talked about the language barrier. The language barrier between Spanish-speaking and English students and how that has affected him and his classmates as well. He also focused on not only Spanish-speaking students, but international students in general. He talks about his experience as well as how he's seen his classmates who are from a different part of the world get academically involved here on campus and how professors are supporting those students. So I would really recommend looking at those videos. Thank you.
So the article I put together was focusing on classroom bullying and harassment, just thinking of an idea that we spend so much time in classrooms with other people in general, if there's possibly issues within there. And then looking over the DEI survey, there was people reporting that they have been harassed within the classroom environment. So I talked to 2 students on campus who have experienced it, getting their story, and then another piece of my article that I felt was really important to report upon is the subject of reporting. About half of our student population is unsure how to report a situation on campus. I felt like it was very necessary to inform and how to go about reporting these situations.
I talked with 4 international students that also play on the soccer team, because what better way to get a hold of international students than go to the soccer team where they have a number of Europeans, and we were able to get 4 different people from 4 different countries for a very diverse perspective, a very unique perspective on America and coming to college in the United States. For example, Haley talked about the language barrier. One thing that Nico Renzi talked about from Italy is his thick accent that he has, and overcoming that when he comes to America, making sure people can still understand him. His English is good, it's just the accent sometimes was a hurdle for him. But as you heard in the introduction piece, people here have been generally very appreciative of getting to meet these international students and get that perspective. The one thing that Ocon highlighted as a point that Morningside can try and better adapt for international students is work opportunities. Just simply due to the work-study program here in the United States, international students are not always granted some of the same job opportunities on campus as American students. And that is something that Morningside could address. Normally international students are subject to some of the maintenance jobs. And that's one thing that he would like to see changed here at Morningside, so that everybody has the same job opportunities, whether you're an American or you're a German or an Italian, things like that. But overall, these guys have felt very welcomed here on campus overall, by people in the athletics department and by people just overall on campus. International students have been a very big part of the Morningside campus community, and thankfully they're here and have had a very good experience overall.
So as all my classmates have mentioned, we interviewed quite a few people, and as we were trying to kind of think of ways to present that information that we found, Kyle had the great idea to put together a podcast where we kind of talk about the information that we found in our interviews and some of our personal opinions and findings through those interviews. So, I mean, it's about a 15-minute podcast here, and I think it would absolutely be worth your time to take a look at this. I think it does a really, really good job of kind of summing up what our project is about and, the environment at Morningside. We're going to play a little snippet of it here for you.
Questions? Kyle, as part of this community, do you think Morningside students and faculty treat LGBTQ students any differently on campus?
I personally don't think so. I think that it's actually something that, it's not important to people on staff. I think that you are who you are, and it's a very family atmosphere, so I don't think that you get treated any differently on campus. My research and my interviews have also all felt the same way. I think that some people are very supportive. I think that it's kind of like it is everywhere, though. There are obviously outliers, but a lot of students on campus, don't feel like they're treated any differently because they are gay or they're bi or they're a lesbian or whatever it is.
So you feel like you can express yourself on campus and be who you want to be?
I personally do. I came out when I was 12 years old to my family, and I dated somebody all through high school. So if you want to see more of that, obviously that's here on the landing page. So kind of to wrap everything up and to conclude our project, I think that the DEI committee is being formed is taking us in the right direction. And for us to be able to have the foundation at Morningside, to be able to be diverse and to talk about it and be visible. I think moving forward, visibility is one of the most important things, and to continue to have these discussions about, hard issues, about being a person of color on campus, being a part of this LGBTQ community, being an international student, and really expand our experiences here at Morningside. A big thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to recruit outside of our backyard, like a lot of us have said, and getting more students on campus to really lighten our experiences here is going to be super important. That's all we got.
Do you guys have any questions for us as a capstone class?
First, I just want to say, fabulous job. This is amazing. It was professionally done. I'm excited to see this website. You will watch all the videos. It's exciting work that you've done. So thank you. I know it was a long project, but it's going to serve us well moving forward. My question for you is just, since you talked to so many different people, what was something that was the most surprising to you? Was there anything that really you thought you knew, and then it was actually opposite of what you thought? For anyone.
I can kind of talk about it. So I think a big thing, not only from my experience on campus, but also like Abby's research of Title IX and reporting. I think that that's something that was really surprising to me, that not very many people know about that process, but also who to go to. And I think that was really, for me, that was a huge aha moment in class when we were talking about it. And then through my experience as an athlete on campus and being gay, I think that it not being, it's a part of your identity, but it's not what people are really discussing. If you're an athlete on campus, it's who you are as an athlete. not necessarily the fact that you're gay and an athlete. That was really surprising to me. I want to something like that.
I was just gonna say how many people were actually willing to talk. A lot of people were willing to share their stories with their name attached, and this is a little more kind of sensitive topics for some, but we had a good amount of people come forward that we reached out to, but also that kind of heard about what we were doing and wanted some input on that as well.
Question about the Title IX, because that obviously during the past year, there was so much about that topic, I'm passionate about it. So you said, I think it was like half the student population is unsure of how to report. That's an obvious issue, it's a complete obvious issue that we need to address immediately. Like, half the population, was that, I'm curious where that survey was done, how, was that all students were?
It was the students that participated.
Okay, that's what I was curious about, was the students participating.
Yeah,
Okay.
from that survey, there were 283 students, if I remember correctly. So about half of those students said that they were unsure about how to report or going about reporting.
And this is that survey from about a year and a half ago.
Oh,
That was-
okay, see, I didn't know where we're.
Yeah, it wasn't a new one, it was that survey
Yeah,
from them.
yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that, and that's a good sample size too, I was just.
And like talking to other students about how to report and everything, I didn't ask them if they took the survey or not, but a majority of peers that I talked to said that they were unsure about how to go about reporting.
Any other questions or comments for?
Yeah, I would just say again that similar to Carmen, like I thought it was really well done, really professionally made. I know that we had the opportunity to talk with Iggy, and it was just something that was really nice to be able to talk frankly with students about these issues. I would say, obviously, as a member of the DI committee, we know that there's a lot of like work that needs to be done. As students, what is something that you would like to see done first? What would you consider like your top priorities or action items that you're like first and foremost, I would like to see the following things addressed?
Go ahead, Tom.
I kind of mentioned this in class the other day. Something that I really want to see taken the next step is faculty actually taking charge. I noticed that a lot of the other committees and groups that we have formed here have a good faculty-based foundation, and for the DEI to be successful, I think that it needs a firm faculty-based foundation. I know that like we want student involvement and students to lead, but we leave every 4 years. So if we really want to see a change in how diversity, equity, and inclusion is on campus, we need that solid ground of faculty really pushing through, staying consistent with events, and we could be as great as like MAC and student government in some ways if that happens, in my opinion. Kind of going along with that, I think that programming is going to be really, really important, especially with getting students involved, because students make up the majority of the community here. So having that engaging programming, I think, is going to be really important.
Yes, and I would like to add, like, referring back to what Tana says, like having that like foundation. A lot of the people I interviewed wish that there was some other procedure besides Title IX where you can also share these concerns. Like with the DI committee, I explained to them that it's sort of an inside job, but like as Carly, when I talked to her, they wish and hope that that in the fall they will open those meetings with the DI committee where students can come and share their concerns, because as we all experience, there's a lot of students here who have had these experiences, and we actually struggled with a few words they wouldn't want to talk to us, and that's an issue that I feel that it's important where you should be comfortable in a space to share the story so that they can get fixed, and that's something the DEI committee is hoping will change and make a safe zone where students can come and share their stories and hope that there is an actual resolve to the stories that they're sharing.
Any other comments or questions? Hold on just a minute, I just want to say something. So I'm just really proud of these students and the work that they put together. Once this is published, we'll have we'll send out an email and we'll put on the Collegiate Reporter so you know where the link to be able to get to this website so you can look through all of this stuff. And I do encourage you to take a look at everything that's there, because there's such a vast variety of written articles and the podcast and some audio interviews and some video interviews. There's just they've just done amazing stuff. So how about a round of applause for these students?